Welcome back to another Black City Coffee vlog. In this video, we're going to do 3 types of roast. We're going to start developing our profiles for city, full city, and Vienna, dark. We're preheating right now, and then we're going to get started. I'm not going to record the whole roast, just because, I mean, you guys seen how I roast. But basically, I'm going to move through this fairly quickly, keep my focus towards the roasting, and chime back in here whenever I feel like it's necessary. But yeah, I won't be recording the whole roast today. You can find a bunch of those and how I roast and everything in other videos. I did 3 versions. I did a city, a full city, and then possibly like a full city plus. I don't think I was able to get to a second crack on the third one. That's just because as I was like, you know, going through the motions, I kind of got nervous. Like, I've never roasted intentionally dark before, so me going into that territory, it feels weird. It feels off. It feels wrong. And I've heard other roasters talk about this, like Derek from Mill City Roasters. He'll be like, oh my gosh, we're going into the dark territory, you know? So like people who drink specialty coffee are more, I guess, averse to dark roasted, because if you didn't already know, theoretically you're taking out a lot of the origin flavors from the coffee because it's being cooked. It's being denatured. Oh yeah, so now when you guys are ordering through this site, I now found a way, I've just figured it out, that you can choose your roast level. So if you like light roasted, medium roasted, full city, or dark roasted Vienna, you can let me know and I will roast it that way for you. So isn't that kind of cool? So you can have more control over what kind of coffee that you're drinking. Some info about these coffees. So no oils present on any of these. Nice matte finish, very, I guess, not to say easy, but very consistent with your typical sort of beans that behave in a roaster. For example, sometimes I'll get like a honey processed coffee or a natural processed coffee, and it's not behaving the way a typical, you know, coffee would. So I would say that this Vietnam is actually a relatively not a challenging bean to roast, which is cool. That's great. I think the 400 charge, while only roasting 3 batches at 1 kg, was actually the right charge point. I still want to keep pressing it. Like I was saying, I was getting kind of nervous trying to go into the dark territory of things. So I'm gonna try it again and actually do like a true dark roast and see what happens, and just kind of like, you know, just keep pushing it. Oh, okay, cool. Like this is where the oils come out or whatever, you know, just to kind of see where the line is. Because as a roaster, and of course what kind of machine you're dealing with, the batch, the type of coffee, how old is the coffee, how fresh is the coffee, there's all sorts of variables that come into play as to, you know, what your overall roast development time will be. Here we go. So, interesting. First one, very balanced. If I try to put words to what I'm tasting yellow. Yellow, I'm tasting peanut brittle, not peanut brittle, the brittle part, the crunchy caramel, not the peanuts, but the crunchy part, the one in between, the caramel part. So it's not the gooey one, so it's not very buttery. I feel like these two, batches 2 and 3, which were more Full City and Full City Plus. I'm just gonna blend those together and call it Full City. But definitely roastier. So it's this flavor, but roastier. There's a roastier kind of like base to it. Cantaloupe? Some kind of melon. Cantaloupe. I don't really like cantaloupe, but in here it's like rounded off with some sweetness, so it's not that abrasive to me. Let me just like drink it. Vietnam and this specialty coffee, it doesn't have much, I would say. I don't think it's suited for city. I don't think it's suited for it. I think what it excels at and its origin flavors are more on the sweet side than the acidic side. I think it would serve this coffee best to roast it to either a City Plus, like being right there at the edge of light, and then full steam ahead for a Full City. And then again, I want to try that Vienna roast, dark roast. You know what I mean? I feel like the city is not providing the best house for these flavors. I'm like, just go for it. You know, you're trying to be sweet. You're trying to be a full-bodied coffee. If I'm roasting this light, it's like, why don't just go for it? Why are you tiptoeing around being a full-bodied coffee, being a sweet coffee? What would be dope, I think, okay, for those people who are maybe getting this, how this coffee could be used, this city roasted coffee, espresso. Do espresso with it, because with all the pressure and the fine grind, I feel like it can kind of balance itself out, and then you're gonna get a lot more nuance and flavor with that, but you're not gonna get that super crazy crema that everybody's so in love with. But nowadays, I think some literature is coming out, or some discussion is coming out talking about crema not being, you know, the whole piece of the pie, you know, with it just being that pretty fluff, and you're really about that graham cracker crust or that filling, but not really about that, you know, whipped topping. And I feel like that's going to be that next wave of discussion talking about crema. What's his name talked about this. He had a whole video on crema. James Hoffman, big coffee dude. What's his name? I think it's James Hoffman. Okay, so that's what I think would be good for this city roast, is do espressos with it, do Americanos with it. That's what I would do. And then with the full city roast, do everything with it, you know? That's what it tastes like to me. That's how I think I would utilize this. And a note on that, you know, using certain coffees for certain brew methods. For example, like the El Salvador that I had in the roastery for a minute, a cheaper coffee to purchase, a great tasting coffee to just drink. However, it was pretty divisive. People loved it, and then people really didn't like it. And they were like, I don't really dig the El Salvador. I was like, I wonder why they're saying that. So I went to go back and taste some old stock of El Salvador. And then I found like, oh yeah, like I'm not really digging it. I'm not getting a lot of zing or whatever. I'm not digging it, just brewing it AeroPress. So what I was doing was like, well, you know what? This coffee is actually made to go dark. Let me do this espresso, even though I roasted it light. So I did espresso, and I don't normally drink espressos. I drink Americanos because I want to sit with the coffee longer, right? I want to slurp the coffee longer instead of be done in like 4 sips. So I always make espressos, but then I'll brew espresso, but then I make Americano, right? Which is just espresso and water, hot water. And so when I did that, I feel like the El Salvador came alive for me. So I could see, but I'm also tasting it quite late, like a coffee from May. So I thought that was really interesting. It's, you know, if you're tasting a coffee and maybe you don't like it and it's a light roast, try espresso. And then if you want to sip the coffee a little bit longer, just try it Americano style. That's what I've been doing. Okay, so a note on that. So let's give these guys another whirl, and then kind of make our final judgment. Yeah, on the city roast, you're not gonna get like these bright floral notes or nothing like that. It's Vietnam. I just feel the full city. I haven't been touching this much, but I've just been talking about the city. But the full city, it just comes alive, like. Everything has more zing. Everything has more pump. It's just there. It's like it's arrived. Whereas the city, I feel like it was approaching it. I dropped it hot. I dropped it like it's hot. and then it didn't have a chance to like fully flourish, I guess, in there. But I would like to brew this espresso and then see how I like it then. All right. You know, now that I've been cupping like darker coffees, and it's funny how taste like can change and just kind of like, you know, just do flippy flop sometimes. Like I'm really digging this full-bodied flavor now. It's like I wasn't used to it, so when I first started to cup it, I was like, what? But now that I've been doing it and intentionally been roasting darker, going for full city plus, trying to reach that, like where is the dark line for me when I'm roasting, even though it feels so weird and awkward, I'm starting to kind of like it again. I don't know. But that's why coffee's so cool, is because you can enjoy it from so many facets, from so many sides of it. You can come at it at so many sides, so many perspectives, so many ways of appreciating it. And that's what makes coffee, I think, all the more special once you open your mind and your heart to that. You're like, oh crap, like dark, cool. Oh crap, like light, cool. Oh crap, you know, like all these things that can kind of like surprise you. And I love surprises, so I like to be surprised. I like to be kind of like swept off my feet. So like, oh cool, I like it again, you know. I'm gonna go look at the data, make some little notes for myself. I prefer, personally, not that city's bad, but I feel like personally I prefer the full city for this particular coffee. And I think that's fun. So you, as somebody who's enthusiastic about coffee, can maybe be like, oh yeah, you know, like Africa, I really like freaking light roasts. You know, that's the way to enjoy them. And then maybe coffees from like Southeast Asia or Brazil or something, like, yeah, I prefer that kind of darker, and that's when I feel like I'm in the mood for something darker. And it's nice to have coffee be available to you and have all these points of access for you, so that when you want to enjoy it that way, it can be there for you. Isn't that cool? That was good. That was a nice cupping. I'll make my notes. I'll go look at the data. And I'm probably going to choose number 2 as my profile. My profile to roast this coffee is kind of like the standard. And then for those of you who want to order Vietnam through the roastery, through the site, you can still let me know, hey, I want to do it city, I want to do it full city, I want to do it Vienna. Okay? So good things, and I'm gonna go look at the data again and put this together. Thanks for watching. See you next time.